can turn the world on with a smile. You can take a nothing day and suddenly make it all seem worthwhile. Well, it's your girl and you should know it. With each glance and every little movement you show it. Love is all around, don't need to fake it. You can never down, why don't you take it? You're gonna make it after all.
Hi everybody, welcome to the show. Today is Thursday, March 29th, and my beloved husband Mark Emery has 831 days left to serve in his U.S. prison sentence. His early release date is July 9th, 2014. That's 85% of the 5-year sentence. So you can stay up to date on the countdown clock at freemark.ca, where you can also see his prison blogs and read more about him and get his address so you can send him a letter, always at freemark.ca. Mark has an Easter prison band performance coming up. He's really excited about that. He has a big playlist he shared with me, and he's doing songs like White Room by Cream and lots of Jimi Hendrix songs, and I've got the list I'll be posting on his Facebook account. So if you check out facebook.com/Mark Emery or facebook.com/PrinceOfPot, you can see updates about Mark that he sends to me so I can share them with everybody out there. So that's been keeping him busy, of course, and it's beautiful, nice weather down there, so I'm grateful he gets out in the sun, and he's looking good and healthy. So I've got nothing but positive news to report from our last visit together last weekend. He also got a letter from yet another family who has had a baby that they've decided to name after him. So there's a little boy named Emery in Washington State. His proud parents sent a letter to Mark, and that's about the 6th baby that's been named after Mark, either with Emery as their first name or maybe Mark or Emery in the middle name. And we know a few people, and it's such an honor. Mark is so touched to know that people care about him so much to pass his name along, since we don't have any kids and we're not planning on it, so his name can live on through others. But really it's touching to know he's had such an impact on people's lives that they would do such a great show of tribute to him. So big thanks to that wonderful family, and I'm sure Mark will be writing you back a beautiful letter soon in response. I'm going to be doing a Liberal Party event this Saturday on this weekend. I've been invited to speak at a cannabis event about the Liberal Party's new stand on legalization, and I'll be there talking with Donald McPherson from the Canadian Drug Policy Coalition and Jason Gradle, who used to be with the BC Civil Liberties Association, and Steve Finlay from LEAP, Law Enforcement Against Prohibition, and others are going to be there to educate and inspire people with our movement to end prohibition. So I'm honored to be invited to attend, and that's happening at the Hastings Community Center at 1:30 on this Saturday. The address is 3096 East Hastings. It's right across from the PNE, so hopefully all the Vancouver area folks will come out and show some support, get some information, and tell any political party who supports ending prohibition that they've got our backing, and they've certainly got mine. Some great news coming out yet again from Stop the Violence. Dr. Evan Wood and Stop the Violence BC have done phenomenal work bringing a lot of really high-profile big names on board. First, they had 4 former mayors of Vancouver say that we need legalization, and then they got 4 former attorneys general to join board and say the same thing. And just yesterday it was released that the chief health officers from British Columbia, Saskatchewan, and Nova Scotia have all joined the same call to end prohibition, and they've authored a medical report paper calling on the government to no longer use a criminal approach to treating marijuana and drug issues. So that's phenomenal. Wonderful work again by Stop the Violence BC. As always, when they put something out, I get a few media requests. So I was on CTV News National and talking about how it's a wonderful step forward on Radio NL in my hometown Kamloops, and the Aboriginal People's Television Network, who are airing a clip tonight where, of course, it's of great concern to them because with any increase in the drug laws being enforced, we know that the minorities and especially Aboriginal people are targeted and suffer far worse than others. So they're on our side opposing this bill. And coming up In 21 days, we've got April 20th, the global celebration of our cannabis culture. It all started in Vancouver in 1994, the day of April 20th being a celebration protest smoke down. So you can find out the history about that by going to 420vancouver.com, and you will also be able to see videos from previous year's events and photos and find out about musicians who have performed, and we'll be adding more and more info to the website as time goes on. So plan your trip if you haven't already to come down to Vancouver, BC on April 20th. It's going to be an amazing weekend. We'll have more stuff going on in town, I'm sure, and here at the Cannabis Culture headquarters and BC Marijuana Party Vapor Lounge. So stay tuned to our website, cannabisculture.com. Of course, you can always find the news stories about things I've mentioned, such as the Stop the Violence news recently. You can always get that at cannabisculture.com. We've got the top news all the time, so check it out. And be sure to check out all our other websites, Facebook and Twitter and all that. It's always in the info bar below, so follow us and keep up to date. I'm going to do the draw now, as usual, every week. We're going to give away a free Mark t-shirt. So I got about 30 some odd entries. I can't remember the exact number, but quite a few for this one. And as usual, I have the Bubble Man bubble bag to draw the names from. So the winner of this week's prize is going to be J. Marco. You said onward, so good encouragement, but I'll be sending that out to you with the free Mark stickers as usual. We always send these out with every prize pack. And for the next draw, where I'll be drawing the names next week, send an email to Jody at cannabisculture.com, and the winner is getting a Prince of Pot DVD. Now, this movie was filmed by CBC, our national broadcaster. They got a good budget for it, and they filmed it in 2006, 2007. And it tells the story about who Mark is, why he was targeted by the U.S. government, and this was wrapped up before Mark got extradited. So the end of the movie doesn't tell you what happened to Mark, but if you want to know what it was like along the way, we've got great interviews in here with Greg Williams, the late Michelle Rainey, Kirk Tusaw, David Malavine, all sorts of great people in the movie The Prince of Pot, the U.S. versus Mark Emery. So check it out. It's pretty old, and I'm kind of embarrassed by how childish I was back then. So much has happened, and I've grown so much. But really, if you want to tell other people about who Mark is and why people consider him a hero and why he was numero uno with the DEA, this movie is definitely worth checking out. So I'll be sending that to the winner next week, and if you want to watch it, it's available on YouTube. We didn't provide it, it just happens to be there. So check it out if you haven't seen it already, and you'll know more about Mark than you might know right now. Thanks as always for tuning in, and hope you subscribe to Pot TV if you haven't already. Click the button there, and be sure to check out our live shows. Later today, Brittany and Jordan with Pot Parazzi, their new live show on Pot TV. We've got a big schedule getting fuller and fuller with new shows. Check it out. You can go to cannabisculture.com for details, and a new Pot TV and Cannabis Culture website will be launched very soon, so stay tuned for that too. Thanks again for tuning in, and peace, and make sure you do what you can to end prohibition all around the world, stop the suffering, and free Mark Emery.